Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa
Hello,
alaikum
brothers.
assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Malana, how's your week been?
Alhamdulillah, busy.
What about you, Lata?
Productive, alhamdulillah.
Productive.
Yeah.
This guy's always productive, mashallah, man.
Yeah.
If I was half as productive as him, I reckon I would have settled Mars by now. Elon Musk, watch out.
MashaAllah. Well, I
Right.
can't say the same. My week has been pretty dry. What about you? What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Where do I start? I think I'm still recovering from this weekend. So, you know how we do the maktab during the year?
Yeah.
We had all the kids, all the parents. Because of COVID-19, everything's been on Zoom. So I had this idea that I should do something different this year instead of our end-of-year barbecue. So we planned a camp within a week and a half. About 60 people
Nice.
Wow.
turned up to Beechworth.
How many?
60
About
people.
60.
Wow.
Nice.
Turned up to Beechworth. Had all the
Where's
tents.
Beechworth?
Beechworth is up north. So you go towards Sydney, but then you get off the freeway and turn right towards Bright.
Okay, yep.
Bright, Myrtleford.
So
It's
that's
an
like,
amazing neck of the woods. High country,
okay, yeah.
right? So it gets, the water there is freezing, by the way. If you've ever had a swim in one of those rivers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So went up there. Well, I'd gone there about a month ago, and I thought, this is a nice spot. And the guys at Beechworth, a shout out to Lake Sambell Caravan Park. If any brothers want to and sisters want to go, I highly recommend it. And I did not get paid for that yet, right?
Yeah,
So
we got to work on sponsorships for
We're
this.
working on
podcast.
it.
right,
Good job,
working on
Wajid.
it. All right, we're getting there. So after that, the guys there are so welcoming. So it's actually a caravan park on a lake. I went up Friday night. My brother went up the day before as well. We took all the stuff up, started setting up. Everybody turned up on Saturday. Many parents, many more kids. We had a little stream running behind the site of where we were camping. They gave us an amazing
Nice.
spot.
Mm.
This spot was just phenomenal. It's pretty much secluded. We tents around. It reminded me of one of those, well, either a refugee camp or the old school.
All right then.
All right, the old school. You know those Western movies where you've got the caravans all around in a circle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in the circle. So it was similar to that, but not as intense. We didn't get attacked by anyone, right? And so swimming in the lake. So that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of blow up stuff to take there, like toys for the kids.
Thank you for clarifying
And
that.
yeah, I had to clarify that one. I left the other stuff at home. And then it was one night. So next year I'm definitely going to be doing 2 or 3 nights. It's just too much one night. And so we packed up the next day and we went for a drive through Bright. We went down to Myrtleford. Bright is an amazing place. Gentlemen,
Yeah, it's
it is a
beautiful.
place to take your families. There's a river, and in the middle of this river, they've just built this water park.
Wow.
It doesn't cost anything. You take the kids. There's a slide that comes off into the river. It's just blew me away. So we
Yeah,
spent
Bright is
time.
beautiful. It's when you're going skiing. Where's it? Mount Hotham.
Mount Hotham, that's
like
right,
the base sort of.
That's correct.
Yeah.
right? And then we went to a place called Parapanka.
Parapunk.
Parapanka's got 2 bridges where these are high bridges. Okay, these are bridges that cars go over. The little kids there climb onto these bridges and dive into the river.
Wow.
It is ridiculous. All our kids, because they're city kids.
Yeah.
Right, so they're talking to these country kids, and they're trying to tell them how good the city is, and the country kids are like, "No, it's not. What have you got there? 100 students in the school. They all know each other. My son, Majid, he's like, Baba, this just reminds me of Stranger Things. All these kids, he's just like they're all of Stranger Things, but
like in the 80s.
yeah,
Yeah.
people are amazing.
Yeah.
Had a massive barbecue there. One brother turned up. You know, Ahmed on his motorbike.
What, just
Bo-
randomly? or
Bosnian from Dufton, Noble Park.
Okay.
Yeah, just random. He was going for a ride with his mates.
Yeah.
And next minute, we just see this guy turn up. Akhaz like, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And I'm like, who's he saying salam to? I turn around and there he is. That guy, he's a amazing brother, mashallah.
Mashallah.
So that was our camp. Came back. The garage is absolutely trash because I'm still sorting through everything. What else is happening? Yeah, it's just been phenomenal. Coming off the slide, though, I think I damaged my knee again a little bit. So need to be a little bit careful there. The
Well,
wife,
it does
Yeah,
look
you're
better
getting,
though.
you're getting old. It's,
yeah, the missus keeps telling me I'm not 20 anymore.
yeah.
So I need to keep remembering that. However, speaking of being 20,
Same
mate, I
time,
have put on
you're
some serious weight.
40.
Can we not announce my age on
Yeah, so
national
you're in your
radio?
early
I'm in my
40s.
early
When-
20s, late 20s.
the same number of years that when you were 20 years old is what's left for you now until you get to 60. Maybe a bit less, actually. You're more than halfway to 60. So
Well, I'm 29, so how about we
Yeah.
not disclose the
Yeah.
the? Okay,
mashallah.
31. All right. So anyway, that's what I keep telling the kids. Anyway, I was told I was one of the children guessed I was 77.
What?
Another one guessed that I was 103. So
Kids are
to
dumb.
to prove
Yeah.
to prove a point, I had to go off that slide, and I proved that I was 31. Rightio. But I'll tell you what, I've noticed I am putting on the kilos. Need to figure
Yeah.
out a way to lose these kilos.
Well, I've started, struggle with weight loss, but the battle of the bulge.
The battle of the bulge.
Yeah, it is.
I still look hot though.
You look all right. You're all right. You 1 or 2 months, but I started this this new program. Basically, my problem is because working and being busy all the time. Then one of brother, Allah reward him, he organised for.
Do we get to hear his name?
No, maybe he wouldn't like it if I say it. So he organised for me to organise like ready-made meals. Like you can buy them. There's like Halal and Easy, and there's different companies.
Halal and easy.
Yeah, there's one in Melbourne.
Wow.
I don't know what they do, but there's all these companies that do like it's like light and easy. It's ready made. It's in your fridge, your freezer. You just pull it out like TV dinners, whatever. Pull it out, put it in the microwave. It's like ready made meals, but it's like calorie controlled and it's
How does it taste?
amazing.
Seriously?
I started today, so make dua that Allah give me istiqamat.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turn the Sheikh into an absolute star, the Muslim version of Denzel.
Yeah.
I mean.
All right. I've become black. It's like-
Okay,
like-
the Muslim version
But
of...
look,
I don't know.
it's good. Like it's because I'm so busy, I can't actually if you, at the end of the day, if you come back from work or whatever, you just like mentally exhausted, like just grab whatever's there. But if you have a healthy option,
Well,
like,
what's the seasoning like though on those things?
Yeah, I'm very
I'm very
curious.
I feel like they wouldn't.
They're tasty.
Yeah.
Like they got herbs and flavors. I haven't had all the meals yet, so
Dinner at Chef's
I've
house
only had
tomorrow.
one meal. So this lunch today. So dinner, I'll see they got like shanks and different things like so. But I think I will be putting some chili sauce on it.
I would not
I
mind some
think
shanks right now.
I've got a feeling that there'll be some chili sauce being used on it.
Yeah,
that's
we order at our house. The missus orders it's called HelloFresh, and it's all these. What they've done is
Vegetarian or halal?
and halal. It's a vegetarian.
Okay, yeah.
So what it is, but they've got fish as well, so you can order the fish option. So it's
Pescatarian.
it's not prepackaged meals.
yeah.
They actually give you all the raw ingredients for it, and you've got to make it.
Look, when I tried vegetarian last week.
Yeah, mate. That's it.
No, I
That's
was with the
sorta hard.
kids and I said, let's go eat something healthy, vegetarian.
Vegetarian's
and we put it in Google. There's a restaurant, like a shop in where we live in the western suburbs
Yeah.
in Melton, and I put it in Google. It's called Go Greens or something. You know where we ended up?
It already sounds horrible.
No. We arrived there. There's no restaurant, halal vegetarian restaurant. It's a halal butcher.
What's a halal butcher?
Huh?
Like as
A
in like
Muslim-owned butcher.
Muslim-owned
Halal butcher,
butcher.
halal meat.
for vegetarian food.
No, the shop's gone.
The shop,
Oh.
there was no halal, there was no vegetarian
Oh,
restaurant.
okay.
There was just a halal butcher. So we ended up buying chops and sausages and.
There's a vegetarian
The
out the
universe was
window?
working against us. I don't know what was happening there, but
The
anyway.
universe is telling you no
So-
veggies.
Yeah, bad.
But
That-
with the it's alhamdulillah, make dua inshallah. We started. So some brother had training me as well, and alhamdulillah. So it's we got to do it. Like
That
and
rule-
my age, you said that you're 31. After
Mashallah.
I did all the tests and everything, my metabolic age I'm 41 is 48.
No way.
Yeah, that's how unhealthy I am.
I'm not
No
doing
way.
that test.
Huh?
No way. I'm doing that test.
It checks like your fitness, you do all these tests and
Where do you
things.
do it?
No,
Can
it's
you- you
online. You,
ju-
just go online and there's
Okay.
apps for it and things and do measurements and your weight and like different things. So it come up with a figure, basically like if it's not 100% accurate, but it's like you should be concerned about it. Like it's,
I reckon I'll be about 18.
Mashallah.
yeah.
I actually asked the other day. I was
18 in the cancer ward.
I asked Maj the other day, what do you want for dinner? He's like, Baba, anything with meat in it. So he's not a vegetarian either. But I think it comes down to a lot of that comes down to mindset and what sort of motivation and things like that you have for that. So
And also it's how you grow up. Like if you're just growing up, especially ethnic people like us,
it's all
we
about
we
meat.
love our meat. You know, and if
Yeah,
you
big time.
if you're growing up just eating meat all the time, to transition to vegetarian, it
Yeah,
just,
we eat differently as well. Like
Yeah.
white people, they have portions.
yes,
I don't. Do you guys have portions?
No.
not at all.
Yeah, just have a
Not
pot
at
of
all.
curry. Or
Yeah,
Yeah,
pot of
yes, that's
biryani.
right. Go hard. And if you don't eat enough, they
It's
tell
like-
you eat more.
Yeah, we have a what do you call it? Buffet. That's our
That's
houses.
yeah, exactly.
Our houses are more like buffets than like compared to like white people. They have like portioned like
I've
measured out.
actually got an uncle in
A
India.
bit racist, but it's a true. Like if
Wow.
they factor exactly like if another person's coming, or I will make his portion
Yeah.
as well. There's no pots of pasta or
Yeah.
pots of curries or biryani.
And what is it? The elders, as if for want of a better term, our parents, our uncles and aunties. If you haven't eaten enough, they bash you till you eat.
Yeah.
I've got an uncle in India. My cousin's daughter put it the most perfect way. Because when you go to dinner at his house, you make sure you don't eat, but he feeds you so much you literally want to cry. And it's not an exaggeration. The amount of stuff. No, guys, no, listen. I'm actually being serious. The amount of stuff this guy puts on your plate right at the start, right? And you eat it and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? After that, second plate comes on. And you actually want to cry and say, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And you know what his thing is? You come here once every 2-3 years and you can't eat my food.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I can, but I won't be going back because I'll be dead. But I think a lot of that has to do with even the weight loss thing, what you're saying, Malani, is about to do with mindset and motivation and, thinking along those lines. So there are some good self-help books out there as well.
Yeah, like another thing I was telling you the other day that someone suggested to me in madrasa, one of the teachers, Mufti Haris actually suggested to me, because there's this app or something, and then so I downloaded it. It's called Headway. We should get sponsorships really, but it's a really good
Headway.
If
you're listening,
it's our first app and our first podcast, and
$3,000
we're very demanding already. We have no track record, and we ask for sponsorship. But it's an app you can get on your phone called Headway. What they've done is they've gone through there's hundreds of That's the biggest section in bookshops now, is a self help section. And what they've done is they've taken all those books and they've summarized them. So they'll take a 300-page book, summarize each, let's say it's got 12 chapters, it will summarize into a page or two, right? All the main points and everything. And then they do an audio, part of, they read those summaries then are recorded. So you can listen to them while you're driving. So you get a summarized audio recording of a book, a whole book.
So it bridges books for use.
Yeah, bridges are into 20 minutes to 40 minutes, a whole book. So for me, because I drive a lot every day between the east and west of Melbourne and so forth, so it's fantastic. I already listened to 10 books. So much in it. There's so much beneficial points in it. The hikmah, wisdom, is the lost property of a mu'min, believer. So it's really, really, it's really good. The only annoying part about it, it is $2.50 a week. The first week is free.
Oh, so it's a subscription.
Yeah. So
Okay,
$2.50, $104. $2.50 doesn't sound much. Then you see the annual
it's
subscription.
$129.
120, 30, whatever it is. Then you say, is it worth it? But then I listen to a few books. The only annoying part about it is the money that's fine. $2.50 is nothing per week. But it's the, it's like a can of Coke or whatever. But it's it's some of the recordings are done by people, which are really good.
Yeah.
Intonation, and so if it's enjoyable to listen to a good narrator.
Yeah.
And some of them are that auto computer.
Oh, Siri.
That would be.
It's okay. No, it's not that bad. It's okay, but
I personally can't stand them.
Yeah, it is a little bit annoying. It is, and it's very annoying actually. It's better to read it than. But overall, the books are amazing. The advice is in it, and because you're dealing with the top minds and their secrets, and then you sort of try to relate it to Deen and stuff where. So
How would that relate to Deen? Self-help books. That's quite an interesting.
No, if
that's
you
actually
see,
quite interesting.
if you see Sayyidina Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, when we in madrasa we studied his daily timetable and stuff, he used to have a person stand next to him, read the stories of previous kings, their battles, strategies, and so forth. So those kings were not Muslims.
Yeah.
He used to they used to read all the strategies, sort of art of war sort of stuff.
Yep.
And that's just to sharpen his in that field. Those guys were the top of their game, and he used to study them you know, and so that he can do his job as a Khalifa and a ruler and a military strategist and so forth. Like he was a genius. He's
That's
one
amazing.
Of the, he's, Sayyidina Muawiyah radiallahu anhu is one of the geniuses of this ummah, one of the greatest politicians, one of the greatest ulama of this ummah. He's an amazing, amazing person. Unfortunately, like you know, certain people throw shade, whatever, and disrespect. But as a definitely a genius, strategist, and is worth study. So then you start to see, oh, okay, so you can study people as long there's no hikmah is the lost property of mu'min. It doesn't matter where you find it. If it's a hikmah and a wisdom in it,
take good from
then,
where you get
yeah,
it.
you take it, and as long as it doesn't contradict the deen,
Yeah.
you can take benefit from it. So for myself, when I'm reading some of the stuff, yes, some of the stuff is a bit because they don't equate Allah or akhirah into it.
Yeah.
But we can do that. Like we can take that. Oh, okay, he figured out that. We can take this point, not just Islamicize it. That's maybe a thing, but we can take it and actually add on to it.
Yeah.
Not just give it a window shopping. Actually, no, you can take it even more further. You know, like one of the biggest thing was like affirmations. That's like a very big thing. You know, like Muhammad Ali said, "I'm the greatest." He used to repeat it over and over again until he became the greatest boxer. You know, like that's sort of like they call it affirmations. You know, like positive. You reconfirm, like you say it over and over again. So, like, but we don't have that type of. Well, we have actually. When I was thinking about it, okay, this is a big thing. These guys keep repeating. Well, we have
affirmations.
Yeah, look, we don't actually have affirmations. Like Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't, like you don't go around talking to yourself
like
and saying,
I'm this, I'm that.
Yeah,
so
like
But no, in the books, is that what it's saying? Is it saying in the books that affirmations are a big thing?
it keeps on coming up again and again in the self-help books. It's a way.
Okay.
It's not visualization, which is a separate principle. It's just like you're talking your mind into this like self-fulfilling prophecy type of thing. But for us, we know that everything's in the hands of Allah. Number one, for us, more powerful than affirmation is dua.
Yeah.
Because dua is much because if you keep saying to yourself that I'm the greatest MMA fighter, I'm the greatest MMA fighter, I can keep saying that from now till if I go into the octagon, I'm gonna get killed. You know, so it's not gonna work. But I can make dua. You know, I can make dua, and
That you become the greatest
then
MMA fighter.
that's more as a Muslim, as a believer. A dua is much more affirming than just repeating your own words, mantra.
Subhanallah.
Dua is much more because Allah is able to do anything and everything, and He's not limited by your resources. So it's in abilities and so forth. So it's. I was talking to students, you know, about this. Like I just read it, and then so these books are good. There's a lot because it opens your mind and focus on certain aspects of management. You know, because I deal with madrasa and managing and imam and things. So it's actually they're actually amazing. So if anybody wants to try it out, go try it. You can download it. It's called Headway. Try it out for a week or whatever. But it's really, really good. Like I found it personally beneficial in doing my job and as a principal and teacher, imam, and so forth. Like and dealing with people. Like it teaches you how to give a talk, deliver a talk, like a TED talk, like the rules for it, and yeah. So it's fantastic. Like I would recommend it as a self-help thing.
You love your rules, don't you?
Huh?
You love your rules.
Yeah, the 12 rule, Jordan Peterson's 12 rule, they had that. You know, it was very interesting, like about how kids, what things to teach kids, and like pet a cat every day. Like I learned, you know, that's
Pet a cat every day.
yeah, pet a cat every day. And he
Oh,
said
that opened
the
up
reason
so
the
many
reason
doors
is
in
like
my
cats.
What's the benefit in that?
He said dogs will always love you. If it's your dog, he will always be like happy or whatever.
Yeah.
There's no, but for cats, you have to almost earn their, like you have to reach out, and he might reject you or she might reject you. It's very interesting. Like humans are, and you see, like make your bed. Like every day, you see successful, they make their bed. Like when you get up, first thing to do is fix your bed. Like it's just all these like real little tips. They make sense, and just someone is reminding you about, you know, how to be a successful person, and you know, and that's what Rasulullah thought. Like if you do your job, do something to do with itqan, perfection. Believer is do things with perfection. You have to learn perfection from the perfectionists.
You know, going back to what you were saying about affirmations, I actually do think that we, even with dua, I think that we Muslims also do have affirmations, but our affirmations are a little bit different towards the Western idea, where it's all about the me, whereas we kind of look towards Allah. You know, I suppose, you know, giving us those affirmations, like we turn to Allah for, you know, whatever it is that we're lacking in our lives, and you know, dua is one of them as well. And yeah, I don't know, I kind of see that happening with the Sahabas, all the stories that I've learned from the Sahabas, and Rasulullah Sallallahu himself as well. Where, I mean,
I think you're right. Like, and we do need to sort of. There's a problem with us. One of the things that in Muslim is not that we whinge a lot, but we don't project greatness in our speeches and success, and like we don't project like high, like we're not ambitious.
Is it also because
and see now I'm being negative as well, but I'm being like negative as well towards Muslims. Astaghfirullah. But you actually need to reinforce it through projecting positive. Like like Muslims are amazing. Like you got Allah's given you deen, Allah's given you understanding of akhirah.
Yeah.
Like that. Like what you can do for humanity is much more than what anybody else can do. Like Muslims need to know their own value. Like they actually don't know their own value and how much capacities and ability that Allah has kept inside of them. Anyway, Headway, it's an app. It'll make you a better Muslim, probably. Inshallah. We hope.
So it's on Google Play or whatever it is. Just download it straight off there.
Yeah.
You probably get it from like my app and all that.
We should get a sponsorship.
Yeah, with Headway, right? Tell me about it.
Let's keep going.
Actually, interestingly, the other day I was speaking to a fiery. The bushfires that happened in Truganina. So
yeah, I drove through it because I drive sometimes from the northern Melbourne.
Yeah.
It's just, just like, scorch earth, sort of like it's weird.
How bad was it?
No, it doesn't look that. It's just grass fires,
But there was ready for watch and act
so
and be
far
prepared.
away.
I think because we're coming into the fire season, especially after last year.
Yeah.
And rightly so, they're being very
forgot
cautious.
about that one. Remember the good old days when you just had bushfires?
Bushfires, and then what would we have? Bushfires and Scotty ScoMo having a nice little holiday.
Yeah, but he
in
made tawbah with COVID and
COVID helped him out, mate.
He made tawbah. He was much better with the COVID. Allah give me that. But, we remember the holiday to Hawaii? Where did
it was in Hawaii.
Hawaii during the
we
bushfire.
missed it.
He came back and then addressed it.
But the damage was done.
And then he went to a footy match.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when he came back and addressed it, he was trying to make it sound like that he came back early, but he couldn't get a flight.
And then
it's like, dude, you flew out in the middle of it.
The liberals are saying,
what are you talking about?
The guy works so hard that
I need a break.
And then he got abused and stuff. But I think COVID we forgot about that bushfire.
We
forgot how bad it was actually. We were doing we're trying to figure out with some of the ulama and some of my students to check these salat calendars, especially Salat al-Isha and Fajr, to actually confirm what the calendar says, right? The calculations are there, but we need over a year to check. And because the best time to check, of course, is summer.
Yeah.
Right? Because sky's clearer.
So you mean actually go out there and check, is this
Fajr
Isha
over like
time?
every week in several locations. There was a plan.
Yeah.
Some of the ulama discussed. Then the bushfire happened. There was just smoke in the air. That's a strange problem. Like summer, the best time to do it is like this. It's like a haze in the sky, and we can't actually check where the light comes on the horizon. But
COVID's ending, and we're coming back into the bushfire season again.
Yeah, that's weird. Like from season to
season.
Yeah,
we've got it's actually a season now.
Yeah, bushfire is actually a season.
It's become a season.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, buts, or maybes about it. Oh, maybe we'll have some bad bushfires. No, we're in the season of bushfires.
Yeah.
We need to prepare for it. Now, the Truganina thing, that's pretty close to Melbourne. Man.
Yeah. Like
that's
for me, it's
very close
I
to
always
home.
thought of bushfires just this far away thing. You know what I mean? That obviously I still have to deal with it. But it didn't immediately affect me.
You're in the inner city, right?
Yeah, but I have family that live in Truganina, so
okay.
So when I heard about it, I was just like, wow.
Yeah, one of our mates, I tried to contact him saying, mate, if you're not listening to the radio, get out.
Yeah.
Because it actually said act now. So for half an hour, it was that leave or stay and defend or whatever it was called, I think it was.
Leave and stay and defend.
But I remember I got that message in Craigieburn, out of North Melbourne.
Even in Craigieburn,
Not this time, like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and I think if you have a look at the bushfire ratings, what's the last one? Catastrophic. Like we start with high, we start with low, and then low. There's no medium. It's just low, high, very high. Actually, it'd be interesting to see what the list actually is. And like you're saying,
most people overseas that do not know what if anybody's listening to this from overseas, they don't know.
Like California, yes.
California.
In the US, yes. I mean,
Wildfires.
California, that's in LA where you've got wildfires.
Yeah.
So
that's like suburban areas.
That's exactly right. And now they're moving in, encroaching. I don't know how much rain have we had, I suppose, over the year, or how
It's been pretty dry.
actually
in
it's been
Melbourne.
a bumper crop for farmers. They've said
No,
it's
we
been
had rain.
yeah, the farmers.
Rain, sun. Is it like
That's the scary part. It rains, sun comes out, grass grows. Then
but it's been a nightmare for mowing the lawn and stuff. Like you, sun, rain, sun, rain, sun, rain. That's the last
yeah,
2 months.
and it's amazing weather. I think it was the best harvest we've ever had or something this
Oh,
year.
really? Okay.
Yeah, so everything's
That's
grown, sun comes out,
Alhamdulillah.
everything dries out. There's all that fuel waiting there.
Yeah.
That's what we need to be careful about. It's and coming so close to the city. So
Yeah.
imagine if this bushfire was right now and we didn't have in Melbourne. We weren't at the stage of no cases, no community transmission. So if we still had community transmission and people are like in emergency getting out, what do you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the
It
guys.
might actually work for us. It might be like, it seems like Australia is the lucky country because like we're not in winter. Number one,
Yeah.
it's not the craziness of Europe and England and UK and US.
Yeah.
Like it's not that bad here. Number one, plus the vaccine looks like it's on its way, and
With nanoparticles in it, according to
and
some.
we're in summer. We're
No,
in
the-
summer, so it's like it's actually working out all right for us here. Like we made it through, like especially Victoria because we copped it like for a few months, but it wasn't that like our cases. Like we were when we were up to 700, 800, we were like panicking and like it was it's pretty full on, and they made some good decisions. The government made some good decisions, like people didn't like it, whatever, but we look.
Mate, he did a good job.
Yeah.
Good old
Yeah.
Dan.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Andrews here.
Yeah, down the man. Yeah.
Dan the man.
Yeah.
He's done a good job. But what I'm saying is, like, if we were in the middle of all of these, how do you evacuate? Like the guys, what was it the other day? The protest of the mantra, right, in Preston. So these guys, during the middle of COVID, there was a one of the security guards tested positive. So these guys had to stay in their rooms
at that hotel.
at that hotel. So they had to stay in their room.
Preston.
Yeah, they had to stay in their room while outside everything was being disinfected. It's like, imagine how scary that is for those guys.
Yeah. And
So they're sort of like, are they in quarantine or are they like in prison? Sort of like
They're
they're
basically
detention. Sort of.
they're in
detention.
detention.
Yeah.
However, it might as well
These
be
are
a prison.
asylum seekers. Asylum seekers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're the ones that were part of the Medivac group. So the ones that were on Manus Island.
Manus Island.
Yeah, so they got brought here as part
I
of
saw them. I drove
you?
through it 2 nights ago. They were protesting. That signs out. To me, they're just, it's no offense, but they look like all the Indians. And so I didn't know because I couldn't see. And I just saw there's police cars everywhere on Bell Street.
How many people were there?
Wasn't a big crowd. It was like 15, 20 people. Maybe they're friends from outside or something. There was some men and women. They were just standing there in the street, and then
It's pretty.
There was police.
bad.
There was police cars everywhere. Like
8 years, man.
8 years.
They've been in there for
detention.
8 years.
That's
Not
crazy.
in the
Oh,
mantra.
but
I think mantra's
detention
like 2
altogether.
years or something like that, 3 years. But in
That's still
detention, 8
Why don't they just send?
years.
Like, what's the issue with them just sending them back? If they're not going to accept them, why don't they just send them back?
Because they don't want to go back. They're saying we can't go back.
Because they're
either.
asylum seekers. They got to put them.
That's
just-
right. They're genuine.
yeah,
These guys are
that's-
genuine refugees, but because they came over on the boat, they came by boat, illegal means.
Yeah.
That's why they can either settle in Manus Island,
Yeah.
or I think go back to their country of origin, or hope to be settled in the USA. Right now, I would not want to be going to the USA.
Likewise.
Craziness, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely craziness. But we got craziness here as well. Maybe Sheikh, you can shed some light. What's happening with this Afik and Anik and
No, it was just an article in the Australian where sort of AFIC had a dig at ANIC. AFIC is like the Federal Islamic Council. It sort of was more prominent maybe 10, 15 years ago, but it's gone a little bit quieter. It's quite, it's got schools and investments and so forth. So it's
what do they do?
Yeah.
Like I don't.
advocate with government, I guess, and different things. It's sort of like the federal body, and it sort of was more of a peak body in Australia. It still is to a certain degree, but maybe limited because a lot of the moral authority is taken now by ANIC.
Is that for the Muslim community type
Yeah,
of
yeah,
thing,
these are
or-
Muslim AFIC.
Are they saying they
Federal Islamic
represent us?
Council, and ANIC is Australian National Imams Council. ANIC is more a newer body. Like AFIC is like 55 years old, and ANIC is like last 15 years, less than that. It's more a federal imams body.
Okay.
So it's
Afik is that?
ANIC.
Yeah, Australian National Mums Council, Australian
Yep.
Federal. So AFIC is like 55 years old, and there's ulama connected to that as well. And but just probably not the best way to present on an issue. Like I think what ANIC did was, which is a amazing like thing. There was guidelines for fostering for Muslim kids that are in foster care and so forth.
Yeah.
In that document, of course, they would have mentioned issues related to children, upbringing, Muslims, circumcision, this, that. In that, they made indication towards female circumcision, I believe, then, and which is there in Sharia. But like then they attacked, like in a newspaper, which is weird. Like instead of advising that group, because if you're both Muslim organizations, then you should just cooperate and share your ideas and maybe.
What do you mean? Which is there in Sharia?
It's female circumcision there. We're not talking about female generally, which is FGM is like in Islam is also forbidden as well. Like,
okay.
So
I think that's where people get confused.
Yeah,
though.
I think some people purposely conflate the two just to give a dig at Islam. So if they knew the specific, but it's not compulsory, and it's not as emphasized what is for boys, circumcision for boys. It's there, but like it's people do abuse it, and they do they do it wrongfully. Actually, they do mutilate. So FGM does exist, but like female circumcision also is part of our deen, and it's not wajib or fard or whatever, but they're two different things. And if you study both of them, you'll see, these are two different things. So some people intentionally just to give a dig at Islam, or they conflate it. But the FGM is more of an issue. If you read about it more, it's actually not a Muslim specific issue.
Yeah,
it's predominantly in African countries. Where the majority is Muslims, the area especially non-Muslim, they are more likely to be engaged in doing this, and
they don't
and I think Muslims
do it for religious things. It's more of a culture thing, because even I think it's in Ethiopia, the majority of people that actually do female circumcision are not Muslim. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. So it's not specific. So they might have said something or indicate, at least acknowledged it. Yeah. In the document, I can't remember the exact expression was used, but they took it upon themselves like to attack them in a public newspaper and say that they look at them, they're not taking care of women's rights, this. And, of course, the Australian or whatever newspaper, jump on it. And it's like, it doesn't do any justice to why would that be the method and way of dealing with this issue in a public thing like that? Like it's an internal document, and they could have given the advice, and it would have been taken on board most likely. Yeah. Both of them are sort of based in Sydney, so maybe it's a Sydney mindset. As a Melburnian, like
is it a case of
is it a Sydney issue? Maybe it's a Sydney thing, but it could have been probably handled a bit better then.
But is it a case of mine's bigger than yours between these two councils?
Each one's trying to assert it's like they're the peak body. Everyone loves using that word, with the peak body.
Yeah. But see, the thing I don't understand is, okay, you're representing all Muslims. How come I don't know anyone that's on your board? How come I don't know anyone that's there?
Yeah, I don't personally, whatever, like, does every Muslim wake up in the morning, check what AFIC or ANIC thinks?
No, but that's my point.
I've only heard
if we
about
don't
it until
do
you guys
that,
mentioned it.
if we don't do that, who's given them the
authority?
The authority to say, okay, you represent.
No, these are self-appointed bodies. All these bodies are self-appointed. If you're not appointed by a Khalifa or a Muslim ruler, so forth, which is like a position, you're a self-appointed body. That's it. I mean, there's a trust level between the Muslim and these organizations. They try to work within these frameworks, but at the end of the day, I don't think the vast 99% of the Muslims do not check in daily, weekly, maybe. Probably the only time they look at it is probably the Hilal sighting or Hilal moon sighting.
every Ramadan.
Twice a year maybe for Eid and Ramadan, 3 times a year. Other than that, I don't think anybody's standing and holding their breath to give them guidance on how to practice Islam.
I suppose
people generally go my late father Sheikh Saeed rahmatullah, he said every imam of the masjid is like the mufti. He's a mufti, because people come to him and they ask questions, and they ask questions and sort their life if they get stuck on a difficult thing. They're the real ones. And this is like a thing. But if you look at it, I'm part of these organizations, but really it's that personal connection you have with your local imam or center, or that's.
I just have an issue with people
And-
standing up saying, "I represent all the Muslims," or "We represent the Muslims of Australia."
No, there's advocacy. There's places where having a united voice and a spokesman on your behalf, in issues, that's needed. Like Muslims do need that, because then who's going to be the? Yeah, I know. I get it. I know what you're saying.
Give
I
me
know what
someone
you're-
logical. Yeah, like that's what I'm
there's,
talking about.
There's good brothers there. There's
I'm not saying
in
they're
all
not.
these organizations. There's good brothers, sincere brothers. It's not a thing. Sometimes just the approach of each. They have different approaches.
And with these things, you always hear the loudest voice.
Yeah,
Exactly,
So
yeah.
that's why it's-
true.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be just a media thing to make themselves relevant, the way they were approached. I don't know. Like we assume people, probably not the best tactic to use for the benefit of Australian Muslims to do it like that, because whether it be ANIC or a local board of it or any organisation, or they belong to all the Muslims, you know,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
all the Muslims gave sadaqah or they contributed or established these
And
organisations.
there's a trust there. That
Yeah.
they
So
will-
no, but like they're working on behalf. If they're working on behalf of the Muslims, then they should work for the interest of the Muslim in the best possible way that doesn't
Yeah.
damage. And
That's the point I'm trying
we
to
don't
make.
damage each other in the process.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we don't hurt each other's feelings. We don't disrespect, and because we're shooting ourselves in the foot, it doesn't serve the interests of Islam. Islam is bigger than these organizations.
Well, that's the
So-
thing, and I think a lot of these young guys or young people coming through today, like myself, do need to. I had to slip that one in there. Do need to understand that Islam is much deeper than what you see on the media or what somebody talks about or what some sheikh jumps on YouTube and says it's like this. That relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or that depth of Islam, I don't think is understood today by Muslims, let alone anybody else.
Yeah, Islam is vast, you know, and even Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
if you try to take it all on, it will overwhelm you. You know,
Subhanallah.
like it'll overwhelm you. Like that's it. So do a little bit in the morning, a bit in the evening, a bit during the day. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Just try.
Really?
Yeah. Don't try to. I can't remember the exact wording in the hadith, but meaning more or less that a little bit here, a little bit there, even a bit in the day. Like it's a constant process. Keep at it, even if you're doing a little bit. But Islam is very big. Like it's very vast. You know.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I got to start finishing one Quran every night.
MashaAllah.
Right. Yeah, man, it's been pretty crazy. But what about the flood? Talking about craziness, 1,000 kilometers.
Are you sure?
No, the storm front was 1,000 kilometers.
Yeah. The Byron
Right?
Bay.
The Byron Bay. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
beach is gone. Like how much beachfront was just
Imagine
changed?
you're looking forward to summer after COVID. You come out of lockdown.
Beach is
There's,
gone.
there's no beach. The
But you know
beach
what the crazy thing is? People up there where these massive floods were going on,
Astaghfirullah.
right? Where these 180 mil, and some places 400 mil. For them, like we have bushfire season down here, they're prepared for flood season.
Yeah.
They're actually prepared for electricity to go out, all of that, and it's a thing. But this was, a bit more
Welcome to
extreme than
Australia.
usual. Yeah, this was a bit more. Welcome to Australia. Where the bloody hell are you? Under all that water is where I am, right? So, so this was a thing that was huge for them,
Yeah.
right? What can you say?
But the floods?
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
just,
I remember in 2011 when we had that massive storm. I used to work for an insurance company. This was like years back.
Astaghfirullah.
Astaghfirullah.
Yeah.
I don't work for an insurance company anymore. Disclaimer. I didn't know at the time, but anyways, what was interesting about that job was when those floods was going on. It was pretty hectic. I don't know if you guys remember, but lots of people died. Like in Brisbane, in the city,
In the city.
Okay,
in the city.
Yeah.
Like because there was flash floodings that occurred, and one particular story that I remember was this lady, and she was just crying on the phone, continuously, and she happened to be one of the victims. Her son was getting rescued by what do they call it again?
SES?
SES, that's it. And on a raft boat, and a flash flood just came and capsized the boat. Little kid drowned, lost.
Yeah.
Khalas, it was gone.
That's heartbreaking, man.
And that was Brisbane city, not suburbs, city.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
The-
And
what's
that's-
the what's the river that goes through the city?
I can't.
Del- no,
yeah,
Del-
I don't know the name of the river, But and guess what the insurance companies tried to do, and which would be interesting if that's the case again. But they denied like thousands of claims on the basis that the flooding was caused by yeah, and it wasn't flooding.
What a nice little exclusion clause you can have in your insurance contract.
Yeah.
We insure everything except for an act of God. Isn't that the whole point of having this insurance?
Or no, it's a nuclear or a nuclear attack. I think that's another one.
Mate, if there's a nuclear attack and I'm in the middle of it, guess what? I'm not calling you to say, listen, my car's just been destroyed. Can you get me a new one? Maybe something with radiation protection.
You got some other issues to worry about. Yeah,
But
but it's interesting.
There's no words to describe some of these things, some of the actions some people take.
Yeah. It's all about money. So it'll be interesting what they'll do now with considering coronavirus, how everyone's
the
having
first
a short
bushfire
budget and whatnot, and the first bushfire as
they're
well.
still and then COVID.
They're still processing.
And then now floods and probably another set of Allah protect, but another set of bushfires coming.
This is a really important time for all of us, not just Muslims but non-Muslims, to come together as a community.
Yeah.
And actually to help out where and when we can.
Mm.
Just little acts of kindness, random smile to someone, or are you okay, or how are you, makes a big difference.
Yeah. We don't do that a lot in our community. Where, I mean, we do that with each other. We don't reach out to like a stranger. We kind of tend to stay away. I don't know. That's the stigma that I get.
Generally, Muslims are we are insular.
We're a bit reserved.
But there's a reason why. It's not like
obviously, yes, yeah. I mean, we kind of all know the reason.
Up in the 80s in Australia, like in the 80s and early 90s, like if you're a little bit brown, Aussie's not with you. He's not down with the brown.
Try being in.
So we copped it a little bit, and other brothers copped it much worse.
Yeah.
So that sort of puts you on a sort of a thing. But
1983, little Indian boy a guy from India lands in Australia, ends up in a country town in South Australia. Imagine what that was like.
Oh yeah.
Oh mate. When the stories, I don't think I can even say these stories here.
Yeah.
Of some of the stuff that used to happen. But what freaks me out is now I think about it, is it's not those children. Where did they learn that?
Mm.
And where is our mindset going with people?
Yeah.
Like even if you have a look at what's happening now in the UAE, with all those guys closing, 11 Muslim countries or whatever coming in. Now, what are you teaching as a Emirati, for example? What are you teaching your children that
what are you teaching as a Muslim?
Look, sometimes like
in a Muslim country.
To counter that, it's a weird thing. Like I remember when our masjid got, after the Bali bombing, our masjid got petrol bombed, right, in Doncaster.
Yeah.
So these early 2000s. So the famous Bali bombing, so many Australians, more than 100 Australians, whatever, 200 were killed. Our masjid got petrol bombed in Doncaster. Like, an attempt was made, and alhamdulillah, like Allah protected it. So it went through the windows, like all the bottles. We came for Fajr, so all the bottles like smashed, and like petrol bombs. There was an attempt, and then in the ladies section, one bottle went and it started the fire. And it started the fire. No, it's not nothing to do with the system. Yeah,
what are you laughing at, Lata? You're bashed when you go home, bro.
No, the fire started, and there's one Turkish old man. Uncle. He came for Fajr or Tahajjud or something, and then he went there and he saw the. He thought it was like a Jamaat staying there. Like he saw some light before Fajr, and he saw some brothers were saying,
Jibrail's praying here, look at the nur.
Itikaf, and there's some light there. No, he thought that way. And then he went in there and he saw the fire, like it's a dinner table, whatever size, like a few meters by a few meters. And so he like took a lota, like a water from the toilet or something, and he just like said Bismillah, started doing circles around it, and like he put it out and he saved the masjid, Allah reward him. So then, like, of course, when these things sort of happen, or someone says something to you, then you sort of become very insular and defensive, and like that. And but what happened was that then the whole neighborhood came, like what happened in New Zealand with the Christchurch thing. The people come. You see the good side of the majority of the people.
We saw that in Coburg.
In our masjid, we had 1,000 at least 1,000 people came after that. The Christchurch attack.
Yeah.
Nearly about 1,000. We estimated more than 1,000.
Wow.
And it was a bit awkward, but I was saying awkward because they want to hug you. So, and I'm like, I got my arms crossed. I mean, I'm trying to be nice and like comforting, but then this lady comes and she's about to. She's got like her arms, and I'm just sitting. I said, I know that if I stand up, she's gonna just grab me. So I'm stuck between the muazzin and the. Okay, I'm not getting up. But I was comforting with words and so forth. But like you see the good side. The people are good people in this country.
Yeah.
But it's just that we only see it in such extreme times.
Yeah.
Like unless you live among them, or generally we stay within our own family unit or whatever, like everybody else. Like in our interactions are sort of tinged by like we are defensive, especially myself. Like we are defensive because of what we've gone through. Maybe like we haven't gone through severe racism, whatever, but we did. No, went through severe racism. Like if you write it down on paper,
if you write down on paper
the insults,
the stuff that has been
in
said,
primary school and high
it's
school,
hilarious.
Yeah. It was. I think we were like 3 Muslims in 1,100 students in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that was in Doncaster in the 90s. So it was. It wasn't. It was not. It was ruthless. Like some of the stuff, because when you're that young, you're primary school or like in year 7 to 9, whatever, mate. Like you don't know. You're a little kid.
Yeah, you don't know
and
anything.
You're copying,
yeah.
like you're being like for your skin color. I mean, I'm not like very dark, but it's like I'm still not white. But it's so we used to like, we get picked on, So
I used to get into so many fights that every lunch and recess time, I was just running. Because I had people chasing me. That's how I became quick. I reckon that's how I damaged my knees from all that running in primary school. Maybe I can go back and sue that school.
Like if you go to areas that are you get that feeling when you go into areas that are very, like majority, like 99.99%, like there's no brown people around. So like I went to Lilydale, even the name tells you something.
Yeah.
So I went to Lilydale, and then we're in the shopping centre. It's like you're the only, like we're dressed in jubbas and sunnah. Of course we're like magnifying, like you feel like you're in that fish in the bowl, and then we saw like some Chinese group of Chinese people. They were so happy to see us because it took attention away from them. Like they were just like, we just looked at each other with knowledge. They were like, thank God these guys are here. Like we sort of blend in with the whites. But anyway, it was
that actually reminds me of something from the camp. I was talking to one of the guys that actually works at the camp on the weekend, and I was saying, this is great. Everyone's comfortable here. This place is so welcoming. Goes, we get a lot of people coming. Like, you guys come through as a big group because we're welcoming. We don't judge anyone. I mean, we get a group called the Gay Riders of Australia or something like coming through. And I said to my wife, the two extremes. And she's like, no, and like both marginalised in society or whatever you want to call it. God. So everyone's pigeonholed.
Yeah,
but it's crazy. So what do you say to that? And okay, we're getting that racism here. Now, what do you say to those guys in the Emirates for all those Muslim bans, so that if you're from these certain countries, you're actually not allowed into the country?
Look,
they're screwed. That's all I can say.
The Gulf countries. Rasulullah Sallallahu said about them, what he said about the naked, barefooted Bedouins will compete in building tall buildings. In the estimation of Rasulullah Sallallahu, they're still naked, barefooted. They're losers.
Yeah.
And these are not the people originally from Makkah or Medina Munawwara. These are not like they're not descendants of Sahaba radiallahu anhu even. They're not the most cultured people of that region either as well. So literally what he said.
These people in power?
Yeah, the Gulf countries, they're not. Like Qatar maybe a little bit. They're Al Sani family. They've been around for a while. The guys in Sabah, I think, in the Kuwait, they've been around for a while. But in his estimation, like, because the tall buildings, there is a very clear cut black and white sign.
Yeah.
That so who's building the tall buildings are it's these guys from that region. Yeah. Then Rasulullah said naked, barefooted, and they are a sign of Qiyamah. So why do we expect from a people that in the time of Rasulullah their kufr is told in the Quran, their behavior is told in the Quran? Why do we expect from them anything? Because we're Muslims, maybe we say they're Arabs and we expect them to somehow get. But Rasulullah warned us also that one of the signs of the Day of Judgment is the destruction of the Arabs. we love them because they're people of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They speak the Quran on one side, but it's more painful maybe to see it from them.
Yeah.
And they.
But do they speak the Quran anymore? Realistically,
They still we can't just. I don't like writing off Muslims or Muslim communities or a nation or whatever, but they are first things we got to set our bar very low. They think about the national. We set our bar. I don't know why we are thinking they should be like Sahaba. They've come out of the, all right, they came out of the desert 1400 years later, So that's the first thing. Why is the expectation from them? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there's no difference between an Arab and a non-Arab and a black and a white except in taqwa.
Yeah.
So if taqwa is in Indonesia or it's in China or it's in India or it's in Africa, it doesn't matter. It's in Europe. Taqwa is taqwa. Whoever's got it, we should keep their company and learn from them and practice. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make a difference in the overall scheme of things in Akhirah where a person is an Arab or non-Arab. That's the first thing. So we have expectation from them, and then that's why we're more disappointed.
Yeah.
it
Right?
is.
So they think about their national interest because we're dealing with a nation state today. It's not right, because we should be thinking about ummah.
Yeah.
But the way the world is, but the thing is, they got a sort of almost an insidious. They almost have a hate for poor Muslims, and I think they have a hate for poor people. I don't think it's necessary.
Really?
Yeah. This is, I realize even in Pakistan, with being in Pakistan, I think why do people have a disdain for the ulama and madaris? Yeah, because 99% of the alims that are coming out, they're from extremely poor backgrounds. Because the only people who educate them, those families, is the madrasas.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It wasn't really hated. If the alim's driving a nice car and
Yeah.
he's got a Western degree as well,
He's not
and
hated.
so then they like him.
Yeah.
But it's because he's got dunya. So because he's poor, they have a disdain for. So it's ajib.
I think it's it's a psychological thing where they sort of associate this wealth with success. So let's be around this person.
But they have no achievements.
Yeah.
They have no achievements. The Gulf Arabs,
The whole country
the Gulf,
by everyone else.
the Gulf, they don't have any. The Gulf people, they don't have any achievement. What's their achievement?
Yeah.
What have they made?
They've just popped up.
No, they got it's
even the
petrol.
oil,
It's
yeah.
petrol.
But even the
if you take the
petrol is dug out by
petrol
other
out,
people.
That's
like
it.
Abu Dhabi and these places, they're like fishing villages.
Yeah.
They have not actually built anything. They have not created everything they do there now. I hated Abu Dhabi and I hated Dubai even more. And the reason was because that's it's like Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And everything they do is very cringy.
It does. It does remind me of Las Vegas.
Even if you look at the clock tower built in front of the Kaaba,
Yeah.
it's so Las Vegas
it is very
and
cringy.
so gaudy, so nice to look at, because that tells you that person's mental state. He's not a deeply cultured person.
Yeah.
It's not class. Yeah. You've got, so for example, if you look at in the middle of London, you've got Big Ben, but the way that was that looks.
Yeah, England's
compared to
have
what
you been to
everything
England?
No, not
No, I
yet.
went there. It's like half the country's like Harry Potter. It looks like it looks like
That's awesome.
It looks
Yeah.
like it just cobblestone. It looks nice. It's old. They got these old timey buildings
That's
everywhere.
right. You called me from there, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
listen
so
to
it's-
that, and there was an adhan or something going on in the background.
Yeah, that was in East London. It's
Yeah,
Bangladesh. East London is I don't know, the way it looked to me, it looked like Richmond.
Yeah.
But instead of Vietnamese or Bangladeshis. Yeah, right? And they've been for generations, and the azan is on speakers.
Yeah. Wow.
I was walking out of
You called me. I remember
Ibrahim
that.
College or one of those institutes there. I was walking. I can hear the azan. It's coming from down a few blocks away.
Oh wow.
So you can hear it over the street. For the subhanallah. So, these guys haven't built anything. Actually, they've worked. Again, I mean, they maybe have donated money to projects, but with the Muslims in China, the type of statements they make, what they did in Egypt, what they're doing in Libya,
Yeah.
what they're doing politically, this is politics obviously, but they're working always against the interest of Islam, because they're scared of something more powerful than their kingdom or their family, is their political Islam. Islam, politics coming into Islam, Islam coming into their politics, then their legitimacy is gone,
Yeah.
right? So that's why they're going
okay.
hardcore after the Ikhwan Muslimin, the Muslim Brotherhood, and call them terrorist organization. Big ulama, they're selling out,
Yeah.
call them terrorists, just like that. They're Muslim brothers, it's crazy. So that type of low thinking, it seemed to be they've inherited that. They're barefooted, naked Bedouins. Why would you expect them to be a CEO of the ummah. You know,
Yeah.
why would you expect them to be like? They're not khilafah material.
Thank
You
God
know?
we're in COVID. You're not traveling to the UAE anytime soon, are you?
Yeah. I mean, there are brothers still in Islam, but it's just they work so much against the interest of Muslims and Islam, and they don't have the thing, and like
Maybe it's they want to maintain their status quo because they're so comfortable.
yeah,
Human nature.
yeah,
It's
why,
human nature.
yeah, they're human beings as well, and you know, Allah give them hidayat. What can you do? Like,
Ameen.
but it's just like to treat the poor Muslims who are working their country. Like there was a brother working for IBM. He was
built it.
huh?
They built it. The people.
Oh
that
yeah,
they just
yeah,
banned,
like
built
slaves.
their
They
country,
treat them like slaves. Like there was a guy. There's a famous influencer. He went on. He there's recordings of him online. He said, like, how can like he said, how can a Bengali or a Pakistani or something like that equal to our beloved Egyptian brothers? Because Arabs, the Egyptians jumped on them and attacked them. Because what are you talking about? Because there are Muslim brothers.
Yeah.
Like there's so many. I was reading the comments, and even other Emiratis and other people that were saying, I think it's Qatari, Kuwaiti, or something like that. Like he talks such nonsense.
Yeah.
Like Arabism, you know. There's one is like we have a love for Quran because it's Arabic, because it's Quran, language of Rasulullah, some language of Jannah. But then there's like Arabiyu and the Arabists.
Yeah.
Like you can't understand Deen unless you. So they have that problem. That's Imam Ghazali rahmallah talks about that. They have that problem, like Arab nationalism, which is like sort of covered in like the veneer of Deen.
Yeah.
And on the other side is like their extreme racism.
Yes.
They have an extreme class system. They're not representative of Islam. Their attitudes, like whites and blacks are treated differently. They're always trying to marry some white person to whiten the family tree.
Yeah.
You know, this is this is like an obsession. It's an obsession with them, and so they've got like a lot of problems. If Deen is not there, Iman is not there, then other things will take precedence. Their Arabness or their language or their thing, that Deen will not be secondary, tertiary. So they don't, like, we might think in ummah terms, like this is our ummah and we're Muslims, you know, but I don't think they think in those terms. You know, they think in money and having mistresses.
Yacht,
yeah,
why would you?
Yeah, exactly. How can we even relate?
you?
Like, how would he even think about the ummah when he's got that much
And there's a
that
chance
much
he might lose
excess in his life? You know,
Yeah.
subhanallah. So it's like, why are we expecting? You know,
Yeah.
You
What,
know?
what else are we expecting? Yeah. I know what you're
yeah.
saying.
That's why, like, if you look at like, what's his name? That guy that owns Amazon.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, like he's ruthless capitalist.
Yeah,
He-
he
You
he's
know,
scary.
and then
man.
if you
He's
look
got
at
a scary face.
yeah, if you look at Bill Gates, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like he's got a Bill Gates Melinda whatever foundation. He's actually trying to do things. Although some conspiracy theorists are saying he's trying to kill us all. But anyway, that's, you know, with the vaccine. Yeah, the guy cares about you. So, you know. But anyway, it's like he looks like a nice guy. He's trying to. You know, looks like Mr. Rogers, you know. I don't know if you know Mr. Rogers, but he looks that type of.
Looks like the old high school principal.
Yeah.
No, man, I
That's
don't
what
like
it
my old
reminds me
high
of.
school
Huh?
principal.
Yeah.
I like my old high school deputy principal, but not the principal.
Yeah.
Oof.
So anyway, with them, when they're treating all these Muslim, kicking out Somalians and Yemenis and Pakistanis and
Egyptians.
Bangladeshis and
They're gonna be screwed,
Egyptians as
man.
well. on the list.
They're gonna be screwed.
They're
Like,
just kicking out all the poor Muslims who use that money to help their families and so forth. They put up with all the BS of their racism and so forth, and they put up with it because they need to survive and live, and they get treated like someone was telling me in Qatar, the one brother, Algerian brother, was telling me that he goes, like, a Qatari would walk into Macca's, walk to the front of the queue because he's a Qatari.
Come on.
come on.
Yeah. He goes, his 16-year-old, 15-year-old like little tank will walk in and
Yeah, they're big
roll in
boys.
their big boys, mashallah. That,
All that
and
Macca's.
yeah, so he rolls in and he just walks to the front of the queue because he's a Qatari.
Why nobody says anything?
Nobody says nothing because he's a Qatari. You can't say nothing.
Alhamdulillah, we're in Australia.
Alhamdulillah.
Bro, that's
yeah.
why I love Australia. That's why when
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, Australia this, Australia that," I'm like, "What are you
Get
doing,
outta here,
mate?
man.
No,
Get out."
they all come back. And
No, no.
everybody I've seen, Bosnian, Lebanese, Arabs, Pakistan, doesn't matter who they're. Everybody goes back home to go back to the motherland, the fatherland or whatever, and try to, you know, recapture what it was 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So one Egyptian man was saying, so I went there, I don't know what the people are talking, the young people. I don't understand their language because they speak like a different type of Arabic now.
Yeah.
Like their slang is all
Yeah,
different and so people, the convenience and the good things, Allah
Australia
protect.
rocks, man.
It can make you ghafil as well, and to the plight of Muslims around the world. Like, you can be in your own thing.
Yeah.
But like, alhamdulillah, like as an example, like we lived in Australia more than 30 years, 35 years. You never have to pay a bribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only time, the closest came to a bribe was to pay Australia to the passport office for expiated service.
Get your passport quicker.
Yeah. It felt like a little bit
I've
bribe. I'm
done
probably
that.
extra to get that passport early. Other than that, I've never, it doesn't even register. It's not even in our mind that this is something it's so good.
Yeah.
And as a Muslim, I have to make shukr for the bounty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give, but not neglecting what Muslims in China or other parts of the world, inshallah we'll talk about that next week, about in China and what's happening. But we have to make shukr for his bounties and be cognizant of what's happening to a Muslim and use our resources. I think one American Sheikh Suhaib Webby put a video out this week. He said Muslims in the West, we have a voice that can work for the interest of the Muslims, and we have resources that we can use for the benefit of the Muslims, the ummah at large, not just for ourselves and getting ahead in life. Like, there's Muslim CEOs that got hundreds of millions of dollars, but what's the point of being that successful when you can't do nothing for the ummah? They can actually do, not just the wealthy ones, even though people like us, our small amount of money
What are we doing?
means a lot over there. Although there are Muslims here that are doing it hard as well, they need help, but it's just something that we should value our voice and value our thing, and not just be like following that country or Saudi or Emirat or whatever, and just follow behind them and expect they're going to show us the right way. They live in police states, But anyway.
Alrighty, so I'm not going to the Middle East or the Gulf countries and building a big building.
Me anyway.
Not with you. Not
right
with you. On that note, thank you everyone for joining us. Please subscribe, like, and press the bell icon. Also, please feel free to comment and provide feedback.
Give us some topics.
Also, give us some topics. What do you want us to talk about? Whether it's my youthful good looks, or whether it's the plight of the ummah anywhere in the world, or anything interesting, we're always welcome. Have a great night, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.